Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where I had a sneaking suspicion, and in order to confirm it, as you can see in the console here, I tagged into Ukraine real quick, and all I wanted to do was I wanted to check to see, are they eligible to drop down to all adult serve? Because of that requirement, estimated enemy strength ratio of 75% or more compared to our army, I didn't think that they were. And I can now confirm, yes, they are not eligible to go to all adult serve. So when they run out of manpower, which they have somewhere between like 3 and 4 million manpower right now, it's going to be interesting when they run out of manpower, because they're not going to be able to reproduce it. Now, we're mobilizing up right now, and that'll be fine. But I just wanted confirmation on the army size, because we know that their army size is significantly larger than ours, right? We've known that this whole time. We can see it in here. They're fielded 8.64 to 12.5 compared to our 2.05. So this is not 75% of this. That's just the case. So we could have figured that out without tagging in, but it just seemed the easiest way to make it absolutely for sure. So there we are. So we now know that for a fact, and that had been the suspicion previously. We've got these guys that I want to move into our reserve for the time being. Our main concern right now is steel. We're running out of tanks and mechanized infantry units, and that is absolutely a significant concern. But we want to continue to inflict a lot of casualties on the Ukrainians here, because we do have some manpower to carve through. Oh my, these are some spammy attacks going on over here. Okay, I'm not sure what's up with that. The game does that sometimes. I've found that that usually means that we're actually making progress in a weird sort of way, but for now this seems okay. So we're not making a huge amount of progress over this way, but actually I think we are about to take that. So taking that position would be phenomenal, and we can see our manpower is definitely being eaten up at a pretty aggressive rate as we do this, but we're mobilizing up. And the idea here is that we're also eating up Ukraine's manpower at a significant rate as we do this, because they're also attacking into us. In fact, they just took this position, which is mildly surprising. But it's okay. We don't mind it. If they're attacking us, that means they're taking significant losses. So if we check in here, we can see they're 1886. Noted. So I want to launch an attack over here with these infantry, potentially. And that's not going very well, is it? Not going very well at all. But we're just trying to inflict casualties for the time being. So this seems okay. They're currently pushing into us, but that's what we want. We want them primarily attacking us right now. Although we don't want to lose this territory up over here. So I'm going to move some of these units up to here to reinforce this position. And I'm also going to tell these guys, cease your attack. Okay, so we're just going to hold here for right now, and we'll see if they're able to actually push this. I didn't think so. Why are we attacking here? Don't do that right now. Okay, so we're just going to hold this position for the moment. They're attacking us up over this direction. They really, really want to take this point up here, but that's going to go poorly for them. Our organization is pretty low right now, and that's fine for the time being. The real question is, how much are they actually taking in terms of casualties right now? Well, this has been going for a little bit. Let's actually check in here quick. That's about 100 and... it was 1886, wasn't it? That's about 50,000. Okay. I mean, that's a lot. No doubt about it. That's a lot of manpower that they're sinking into this. And when we're not attacking, we are able to hold this line with some incredible defensive bonuses. Now, as of right now, we're just letting them exhaust themselves a little bit while we build back up on our number of tanks and on our number of mechanized. So that is going to be a requirement. I'm actually going to move the mechanized up above the tanks right now in terms of the steel priority. I'm going to put the support equipment down here. We can see we have a lot of support equipment in stock at this moment. So we're going to do something like that. And we're also going to drop the advanced artillery and the infantry equipment down here about like that. And I might even put these tanks here like this. We do have a lot of this stockpiled. Yeah, for the moment, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to be producing a fair amount of this equipment. That will be making its way out to our tank units. So we're currently producing somewhere around 50 modern tanks a day and about 33 mechanized equipment per day. So that seems relatively fine. And they're still attacking us here, and they're attacking us here, although their attacks are a bit mild. Now, we could probably break out of this position, but our organization is, okay, supply issues. That's not necessarily surprising. We've been unable to get a supply set up over this way, but I want to check in at what Ukraine is at for manpower now. 2.36 to 3.11. Okay, so their manpower is dropping considerably. No doubt about that. So we can still mobilize up a lot. So that's absolutely noted. And they're going to continue to take losses over here. For now, I think we're absolutely fine with just holding position until we are through some of these deficits. We certainly do need to get our mechanized out there. And I'm thinking about starting up another production line of tanks, although that would more be the factories being reassigned, wouldn't it? Because I was thinking we could get these factories, once we're through this, we could get a bunch of these factories down to here, but in reality, we'd be better off just redistributing the steel production, right? And that would definitely be the case. So that would be kind of doing something like this, but this isn't really going to change anything in terms of our numbers of production. So that would mean moving this mechanized down to here once we get through this reinforcement deficit, which will not be too much longer. We do still want to produce mechanized once we're through this, but we want to prioritize the steel into the tanks. So that's going to be a little bit awkward because these two tank lines are going to consume all of our steel. There's no doubt about that. So that means that we're not going to be producing additional mechanized once we are through this, which we are very close to being. So that's noted. How many losses have they taken in this lull that we've been in? 904? That's where they were previously, I believe. So they're not taking many losses in this lull. Noted. I want to wait until our mechanized infantry is through its deficit, at the very least. So once that's the case, then we'll be in a good spot to start pushing again here, I think. But yeah, they're taking very few losses when we're in this pause. So that's understood. Also, we should probably still be working on all of this stuff. I always forget to do that. Okay. So they're just launching very minor attacks right now, and this is fine. I'm really not concerned about this. We have a lot of mobilization that we can still do, and that's absolutely understood. Supply over here will increase as this naval base gets leveled up, and that is also fine. So no issue there, but the real question is, what about this mechanized? Well, we can see we're still needing 22 for upgrades, apparently. Now we're needing 17. Now we're needing 7. Okay. Now we need 120 for reinforcement and 4 for upgrades. Okay. We are just about through our mechanized deficit. Okay, now it's being stockpiled. So we should be good to go for mechanized for now. Now, we're not going to be producing a single piece of mechanized equipment right now. So that means that any mechanized equipment that we lose is currently irreplaceable until we move that. It's absolutely understood. And I'm going to put this up here like this. Okay. You know, I think we really should sit about like this. The bulk of our steel is going to go to modern tanks. Some will go to the production of mechanized equipment, and then whatever's left goes to the modern tanks. Again. So that seems fine, and I want to start attacking over here again very soon. They've weakened themselves due to their supply lines. They can't hold these positions. We know this. So we're going to go ahead and begin our attack out over this direction. So that seems good. We'll see what we get out of this. Okay. We should be able to start pushing them fairly soon here. We're not really hard committing to these attacks right now. That's absolutely understood. We do have some supply issues going into this, as we know that we will. There will always and forever be supply issues over this way, it seems. So I'm just looking at the way our generals are arraying these battles, and I'm thinking we could definitely take this point if we just committed to it. Yeah, we can definitely take this point. And I want to do so. So we'll get that done. Eventually, we'll get that taken. They're beginning to retreat back over here. These are some tough points to assail, and we know this. But there's only so much that they can do over on this side. So I want to check in now. Okay, look at that. They've lost almost 200,000 since we started this attack. That's insane, actually. They're somewhere in the 2 million range, so that's 10% of their remaining manpower. That's wild, actually. Yeah, we absolutely need to be engaging them over on this side. They cannot keep up this pace of loss. So we're going to grind this through, and once we know that they're virtually out of manpower, we're going to start up this attack out over here as well. That's the plan here. We're going to grind them down over this way. We don't care whether we gain territory or not over here. In fact, it's kind of best that we don't, in a weird sort of way, at least for now. And we check in here, and we can see 19.22. 19.23. So they're definitely taking significant losses on this front. Our manpower is still going up. We can mobilize about another 3%. So that's going to be very solid for us. And our monthly growth will be decent as well, but there's a lot of loss on this front. No doubt about that. Also, our war support, not great. We should probably do something about that. There we go. And we'll just continue to grind away on this. So we're not making huge amounts of progress over here, but we're not surprised about that. And the progress is actually in this number right here. They've lost another 30,000 since we last looked. Now, they've got a lot, no doubt about it, but they are lower than us in manpower now. I am thinking about launching this attack. I'm doing it. Yes. I'm going to grab half of these guys, and we're going to assist that. So we're going to start pushing out over here as well. And they're being strained on multiple fronts at this point. So with that in mind, they're going to have a much harder time reinforcing this front and flooding this front the way they like to do, because they're going to be forced to attack this front as well. And I'm going to tell these guys, go ahead and do whatever attack you're going to do. In fact, just fully help out with this attack. So that's fine. We're currently winning, but we anticipate that that will last a while, and that's okay. We'll just continue grinding away at that attack. So now if we check this, 19.27. Okay. That's absolutely fine. We have high losses as well, but they will run out of manpower before we will, and we know that they cannot change their recruitment law. It's not mathematically possible for them to change their recruitment law at this time. So we need to move in like this. I'm going to grab half of these units. They're going to assist this attack, and we're going to start hard pushing over this way. Now, we're not actually caring whether we gain this territory or not. I just want to attack over here. I'm not going to move this to aggressive attack. I don't want our generals to leave us open to counterattack. But I do want to attack over here quite consistently. So that'll be fine. As we can see here, we need a lot of tanks now and a lot of mechanized as well. So we've taken a lot of loss on that front, and I'm not terribly surprised about that. We're having a hard time breaking out over here as well, but this is fine. They're up to 19.28 million losses now. So this is absolutely A-okay. Where are they at for their manpower? Let's check in on that. They are between 2.13 and 2.83 million. Okay. So they've broken our ciphers, that's understood, and we are going to want to start working on something like this. Now I need to remember how to actually do decryption. That would be a useful thing, wouldn't it? Cryptology, click on map to add a country as a decryption target. Yes. Okay, there we go. So we'll get to work on that. That's definitely a good thing to do. So over this direction, we see that they're trying to attack Yekaterinidar. This is not going to go well for them. It's not going to go well for them at all. And we're delighted by this, of course. So their supplies over here are very, very thin, and we're having a hard time pushing out from here, but we don't care. This is actually completely and totally fine. 100% A-okay. I don't mind. They're up to 19.29 million on their losses now. All we got to do is run them out of manpower. And then the push will begin. 2.24 to 2.82. Okay, so they're probably around like 2.2, 2.3 right now. Somewhere in there is my guess. So we just need to continue to get them in here. They attack us here. Beautiful. We like it. So yeah, we're not really making any gains over on this side. And a lot of this is because we're having issues with these guys not wanting to attack. I want them to attack, of course, but they don't want to attack because they're having issues with the supply up here, and it will be low. There's no doubt about that. So we've got a decent amount of all of these guys here. That seems fine for now. That's actually a big part of the reason why we're so short on tanks right now, is because of all of this recruitment. So that's understood. We are prioritizing reinforcements over recruitment, so we are going to work through this deficit in theory. But we're also taking losses. And that's absolutely a bit of an issue. So I'm thinking about moving our tank units to cautiously attack. And then moving our infantry units that are here to aggressively attack. That's definitely an interesting result. So we're currently relying on our infantry out over this direction. We've got plenty of resources for our infantry, and this is fine. We just want to be attacking over here, taking the load off of our tanks, and putting the load onto our infantry for the moment, and still keeping the pressure on. That's the dream. So we need to continue to work on our cryptography department. Machine-assisted decryption seems fine. They're having a harder time holding these areas at this moment. We can see we're actually maybe about to push them up over here. Now, I am going to take the infantry off of aggressive attack fairly soon. But look at this. I just saw the forces comparison move up. It went back down after. I'm keeping an eye on that. If it goes down to us being weaker, it just went down again. We're probably going to want to pull these guys off of aggressive attack about now. So I'm going to move them back here. And we'll let them regenerate a little bit. That's fine. So how much damage did we do with those attacks? 19.31. So that was about 30,000. That's not a huge amount. That's noted. How are things looking over here? Yeah, I'm not terribly surprised about this. Okay, so that seems relatively fine. We need to take a look at their numbers here. 2.41 on the low side. Okay. Interesting. So they're currently trying to attack us. This is the dream, by the way. This is what we want from them, is we want them to attack us. This out over here, these guys are pretty low on their organization, so that is a concern. I'm keeping an eye on that. We do want our infantry here to get a chance to regenerate a little bit. So we might want to launch like a spoiler attack over this direction, like this, to try to relieve some pressure over this way. Okay, well, it relieved a little bit of pressure anyway. We'll have these tanks attack over here for now as well. This is, again, a spoiler attack. Where are they at now? 19.33. Okay. So that is certainly noted. They're certainly taking significant losses here. I'm going to move half of these units to here. Oh, that's really bad. All of these guys just decided to retreat. That is really, 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 really bad. Don't be attacking here, ideally. We need to take these guys out, and we need to do it now. We do have the naval bases up here. I should point that out. So I actually want these guys to make their way over to here. But I guess it's fine, but this push was really bad for us. Now, they can't supply here. So there is that. We want to launch an attack here and take this position back as soon as we can. So I'm going to attack with half of these units. I'm going to attack with half of these units. I'm going to attack with all of these units. And we're going to see about pushing them back here. But it's really tough. It's really tough. We're currently losing the attack up here. This is a very bad situation right now. We're starting to see stack wipes happening here. There's too many troops up here, and we can't do anything about it. This is the problem. So we can't push here, and I'm not entirely sure why, because they have terrible attrition up here right now. But we simply cannot push here. And we can't hold here either. So we're taking huge amounts of stack wipe, and we can't really have these guys retreat. Yeah, we need to try to break out over this way. We absolutely need to do this. This is a lot of stack wipes happening up here right now. There's too many troops here, and we can't do anything about this. That was all of those units that just stack wiped. That's a catastrophe. Okay. So. That was wild that they were able to pull that off. It's not the end of the world. We can replace them, kind of, to a certain degree. So that was... Let's see, that's this force here, that's this force. We've got these guys here. Okay. So we need to grab these units here. That's 4 divisions. That's going to go here. And these guys are going to get assigned up to here. Like this. Then we're going to need to grab from our reserves 20 units. That was a very, very bad situation. There's no doubt about that. So we need to assign a commander here. That's going to be this guy. And we'll make our way up here. The fact that we couldn't take this position back was ridiculous. I thought for sure we'd be able to do that. Now, they have pulled forces out of here. We're going to move some reinforcements in. And they're still attacking Yekaterina Dar. But that was a huge, huge hit to us. No doubt about that. We're going to launch some attacks over this direction. And with their units pulled out, they're going to have a much harder time holding this position. But we have a very tough time actually pushing this right now. And a lot of that is due to our lack of tanks. That said, our lack of tanks is in a better position now. No doubt about that. But I did not expect us to instantly retreat here and then not be able to push it back. That's kind of wild. Their modern tanks are apparently a very strong division. So that's definitely good to know. So I'm thinking about pulling an additional unit up over here. Like this. And then just doing something like this. Okay. So we'll get that up here for now. We are going to need more tanks up here, but we don't have more tanks at this moment. So that is understood. We're going to start attacking them over here, apparently quite aggressively. And we're starting to lose at Yekaterina Dar. So I want to move these guys over to here. I'm wondering about the railway setup over here. Okay. So that's noted. We've got these reinforcements going over here, but we've now been pushed out of Yekaterina Dar. So they're pushing us back here, and the question is, why are we unable to do anything over here? This is kind of wild, actually. So I'm stopping the attacks here, and we know that supplies are a bit rough out over this way. They've always been. And we can see that they are currently using siege artillery. That's probably what's going on with that, actually, is that they're using siege artillery for their action here. So we could do force attack. That would definitely be a thing that we can do. And I would not mind this, actually. So if we did force attack here and came in like this, and we have these guys on siege artillery ourselves, and we come in like this, and then these guys, well, we don't have the command power to do anything up over here, but we're still not able to push into this. That's kind of wild. But this doesn't change the overall calculus. Ukraine is down to probably around 2.2 million manpower at this point, would be my guess. What we need to do at this moment is launch an attack here, which is not expected to actually do anything. And yeah, this is active for a particular amount of time, so that's noted. So they've taken these positions, and that's rough for us. No doubt about it, that is rough. But it doesn't change the overall calculus. What we need right now is, even if we get pushed back here, it's not the end of the world, necessarily. I do want to get these guys over here. We have a lot of troops in this area, and it's probably too many troops in this area, to be honest. But for the time being, we want to just hold these positions, and that's fine. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we'll continue to drain down their manpower. The real question is, what can we do to break their defense of these situations and start being able to actually push again? I think our big problem really is just our tanks are very under strength at this moment. I think that's what it comes down to. And we'll see what we can do about that. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, Spock, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.